Y'all, what's up? Okay. The message for today is you are the walking trigger. All right? So that's what I heard. And it's this awareness that like people are triggered by your presence. And there used to be this shrinking away of being your authentic self because of that, because you trigger others. And now the shift is, no, baby boo, like you embrace that. Okay, if someone else is triggered by your presence, that's not your problem. All right, and there is a divine purpose in playing that role, being the trigger, because when someone is triggered by your presence, it is just a deeper unpacking for that individual that they need to be aware of, right? Why are they triggered by your presence? Because you're being your authentic self. And for some reason, that's threatening to them, because the answer is they're not being their authentic self. So when they see someone else being their authentic self and thriving, they get irritated, because it's triggering the shadow within that they're not doing that. They're not being that. And the shift here that's happening for you is you are following your creativity. When I got the download for this message earlier, I was outside and I have this giant oak tree in my backyard that I absolutely love. And my eyes were drawn to a jumping spider, which jumping spiders are my favorite. Like, hello, they are so cute. They're the cutest spiders. Look them up if you're unfamiliar with them. Okay, they're adorable. And I saw the jumping spider, and it made me think of creativity. Spiders represent creativity. And then it made me think of being the walking trigger, right? Like, spiders are this little tiny walking trigger for a lot of giant humans. Like, humans are afraid of tiny little spiders, right? Like, does it make sense? I guess evolutionarily, like, there's some spiders are poisonous, but a lot of them aren't, right? Getting bit by a spider is not fun. So there's that. So there's some reality to the fear, but this parallels well with like being your authentic self, being in that creativity. Because when you look at a spider, really, we are how many times bigger than a spider? And especially when we see a spider, you have the awareness of how to work with that spider, right? Like, put it outside. I like to put them outside, relocate, not kill them. Some people kill them, but let's not do that, like little beings, let them go. Anyways, I digress. The spider also symbolizes in the metaphysical creativity, and that is the feminine aspect. So spiders being a walking trigger to humans, you are a walking trigger, and you are embodying your creativity, this feminine expression, more boldly, more fiercely, and more powerfully in every now moment. And people are being more and more triggered by that, right? They're like, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Right? And I'm getting that you have a very strong awareness, because you're psychically open, psychically in tune of these judgments from the outside external sources. And before, these judgments would make you shrink away, dampen, shut off, diminish that creativity, that feminine aspect from expressing. This can even be, I just heard, the way you dress, the way you express yourself, your passions, your desires, like you would shut those down because it didn't feel safe to express them, to be them fully. And now you're realizing that it's time to fully embody that, because this lifetime is not about shrinking away from your authentic self to appease others. No, thank you. We've had many lifetimes of that. This is a time for the collective to release those patterns, that toxic behavior of people pleasing on a mass level to make sure everybody else is okay and abandon the self. No more of that. We are going to acknowledge the self. What do you need in this now moment? And move forward by honoring that. And when you honor this internal alignment, that is your soul's blueprint, coding desires, wishes, wants within you. And when you acknowledge these, you are aligning to the divine God source that you are, right? Embodied in this lifetime. So by following what lights you up, what your heart is guiding you to, you're honoring God's source. As above, so below. As within, so without. That is the God source that exists within. That is also an external force. It is getting into that alignment fiercely. So embrace that you're a walking trigger to some people, right? Stop caring. And I understand it's difficult especially if it's been a lifetime of caring what other people think about you. It's taken me years to deprogram that in myself, but I'm finally here. And I still get a little thrown off if I see someone giving me a weird look, but I'm very psychically open and I know what they're thinking. I just do. It's one of my gifts. And I used to shrink away from it. I used to think like, oh my God, I'm, internalize the judgment, and no more. Now I know that's on them. That's not my problem, right? That's their stuff. That's their, I was going to say, I heard deficiency, but that doesn't sound very nice, but it is like, it's their shadow. And there's wisdom in the shadow, there's growth, but it's their problem. It's their journey to move through it, right? It's not my job to fix it and make myself fit into a box so that they're comfortable. No way. So wherever there has been a pattern for this in the past, no more in the future, is what I just heard. Okay, I have the Oracle of the Roses here. I love this deck. So with being the walking trigger, what's the shadow here? Highest divine source spirit. What is the shadow? Okay. The healer. The healer is reversed here. So, is this meant to be reversed? Yeah. Okay. So with the healer being reversed, this is this energy of like over really trying to make sure everybody else is okay, right? But it's in a manipulative way is what I'm hearing with the reversal. It's to make sure that you feel okay, you feel safe. That's the underbelly, the ugly underbelly of people pleasing, is we think like, oh, people pleasing is actually so good, like blah, 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 it's not that bad. No, it's highly manipulative, okay? You are changing your authentic way of relating with the world in relationships and how you express yourself to make other people feel comfortable. You're people pleasing them, right? Because you are psychically, intuitively in tune and can feel how, what, like the micro facial expressions, body movements, their energy. You know when people aren't happy, and this is a trauma wound and what's the word? A way of adapting as a child, like what's the word? Trauma response, but a self-protecting mechanism pattern, right? So we're not gonna like demonize the people pleasing, but we're also gonna name it for what it is. It's manipulative, okay? That's the label we're giving it. And now to be awareness of that manipulation, because a lot of times there's this dynamic with people pleasers and people that have narcissistic tendencies. And I've seen narcissistic tendencies get all of the brunt, all of the blame, which is, they're not lovely to be around. But then the people pleasing is seen as like, oh, that's not so bad. But actually, it's insidious and bad in its own way, and the most destructive way is to yourself. And then also, you're not being authentic in these relationships, so there is this internalized resentment and anger that happens from you suppressing the authenticity. And then that energy comes out in the relationship, right? So it's the people pleaser, narcissistic tendencies. It's a breeding ground for unhealthy patterns. And I can speak so closely to this because I have been a part of these, right? This has been my past as well. I don't do it anymore. There's a lot of healing and awareness that has happened. But I remember hearing that people pleasing is just as equally like manipulative. And I was like, like clutching my pearls moment. But it's true. It's true. I wasn't being my authentic self. And I was manipulating that to make sure everybody else was happy with me, with this perceived happiness of me fitting in a box. And no. So that's the shadow here. Long story long. The healer reversed. You thinking that you're doing the right thing, right? You think you're doing the right thing when you're in that pattern, but realizing it's doing an injustice to yourself and then also to those around you, because you not being your authentic self is blocking the people that are meant to shine in the presence of you being your authentic self. There's so much magic in you being your authentic self, and like the connections that you're meant to be in are waiting for you. And I'm hearing you're already stepping into this energy. You're already doing it, but this message is just confirmation to like double down with yourself on it, okay? She gone, double down. Or he gone, double down if you're a boy, man. However you identify, okay? What's the message from Spirit here? On being the trigger, what's the message from Spirit here? Oh, that's like half the deck. We're not taking that. What's the message from Spirit here? There's one. The companion. Okay. So first and foremost, being the companion to yourself. How do you have your own back? And I know this is scary when you're making this transition away from these patterns, but you're already doing it. So just more fiercely, more authentically, how do you have your own back in every single moment? Recently with my best friend, something came up and I was like, I felt like fear of speaking my truth, because that happens in relationships, right? And especially with this past pattern, it was like, for me, like, oh God, but I know she's my best friend and we've moved through different dynamics like this, and I told her what was on my mind, and the fear of rejection came up. But I knew that if I didn't speak my truth in that moment, I was going to regret it. Because that's me abandoning myself to make other people okay. And I rewrote that pattern in that moment. I responded differently, and the outcome was great. We had a conversation, we figured it out, it was fine. And my inner child, myself, my highest self embodied, was able to articulate, communicate, and do it differently. And that is rewiring in the present moment for the patterns in the ego, the subconscious mind, so that these patterns become easier and easier in the future. And that's what this message is about. Like, being the trigger is you speaking your truth. Being the walking trigger, bringing your creativity to the table, having no fear about it. Is there another message here from Highest Divine Source Spirit? The Alchemist. Okay, I love this so much. Alchemy is transformation, right? And the way that you alchemize these patterns is by moving through the energy. If you're going to move through the energy and do it the same way, respond the same way you've always responded in these patterns, or react, I should say, you're going to get the same results. Nothing's going to change. So what is being asked of you with this Alchemist card is to do it differently. And that means speaking your truth. And sometimes for me, when I've had to move through these energies and it feels scary, I name it. Hey, it feels scary for me to speak my truth right now. I feel vulnerable. I have this fear of rejection that comes up. Naming it does so much for me. And then the person that I'm in the relationship with, that I'm communicating with, they get to understand and see this vulnerable part of me. And this is what relationships are about, is sharing these vulnerable parts of each other and bringing closeness together. That's like bonding. And when you can do this with relationships in your life, that bond becomes so strong and you want to protect it, right? We are animals that exist in community. Humans, we need community. We need relationships that we thrive with them. And so fostering the ones that see you, get you, understand you, want to see you shine, want to support you, you being your authentic self is a gift to yourself, and it's a gift to them. And like a gift to the entire quantum field around you. This other card that was falling out is the storyteller. So with this, I'm getting like, how are you the storyteller of your own life? What are the stories you tell yourself about the relationships, about how it's hard to speak your truth, about how it's hard to do X, Y, and Z? I was just talking to my daughter the other day. She didn't want to fold her clothes. She didn't want to clean her room. She didn't want to wash the dishes. We were doing chores. She's getting older now. It's time to start helping with these things more and have more responsibility. And I was like, listen, we have to do the difficult things. We have to do the challenging things. Do any of us want to fold the clothes? Low key, no. I don't think so. Maybe it's a high key no. Do we want to clean the house? No. But when it's done, how do you feel, right? You feel great. So the reframe is like, oh, it's so hard. It's like, yeah, this is like kind of annoying, but I have to do it, and it's done quickly. How can I make it better? Put on music, listen to audiobook, whatever it is that you love to do that. But with this storyteller, that little comparison popped in, as in like, how can you rewire, reframe where you're making things difficult in your mind about speaking your truth? What is the story that you're telling yourself about how you're going to be rejected, how people aren't going to like you? If you are rejected for speaking your truth, those people are not your people. Period. Okay? And if there is a releasing of these people, trust, I'm hearing trust, that this alignment with your authenticity is aligning you to the relationships that are going to support and celebrate this authenticity being expressed, this creative truth being expressed, this creative feminine energy being expressed in you, embodying your highest divine self in every day, moment to moment. So reframe, catch yourself. You've got this. You're doing great. I think that's the end of the message. If you feel called to work with me, I do quantum energy healing sessions. I'm starting to post recordings of sessions. I'm going to be starting a live quantum energy healing show where I do live sessions, and the link to my website is in my bio. My email is listed there for inquiries. You're doing great. Yeah, quantum energy healing helps with like literally anything. Obviously you need a doctor, you need psychiatrist, like those things, psychologist, therapist, but this helps shift the energy where things feel stuck, things feel charged, like a pattern, a relationship pattern, a poverty consciousness, something like alcoholism, addiction. This is another alternative way to support shifting these energies. Okay, it's great. I love it. Feel really grateful to be able to do it and offer it. And yeah, you're great. You're doing the damn thing. I love you. Be the walking trigger. If you made it to the end, will you leave a spider emoji? Because like, if you made it here, you're one of my ride or dies. Okay. Love you. Bye.